All right, this is paragraph 4 of the newly proposed contract that would go into effect in November if TREC approves it. And so it says paragraph 4 would be leases. It says, except as disclosed in this contract, seller is not aware of any leases affecting the property. After the effective date, seller may not, without buyer's written consent, create a new lease, amend any existing lease, or convey any interest in the property. And then it's check all applicable boxes. There's either A, residential leases. The property is subject to one or more residential leases to tenants, and the addendum regarding residential leases is attached to the contract. B, fixture leases. Fixtures on the property are subject to one or more fixture leases, for example, solar panels, propane tanks, water softener, or security system, and the addendum regarding fixture leases is attached to the contract. Or C, leases of natural resources. Seller is a party to an existing oil and gas, mineral lease, water, wind, and other natural resource lease, also known as natural resource leases. And then it would be either the buyer has received a copy of all natural resource leases, or buyer has not received a copy of all natural resource leases to which a seller is a party. Seller shall provide a party of the natural resource leases within 3 days after the effective date. Buyer may terminate the contract within blank days after the date the buyer receives the natural resource leases, and the earnest money shall be refunded to the buyer. Oh man, this is a new one, and it is fairly aggressive as far as what the seller has to provide. Now, the seller has always had to provide leases that are active. It just has not been so careful to mention those fixture and the natural resource leases. So we will see if this comes to pass. I do think, we're going to see something that clarifies specifically those fixture leases, because we want to make sure that the buyer understands all of the terms that they will be responsible for if they assume that lease. Because, right, this from your training is that the new buyer would step in as potentially the leasee on a fixture lease, maybe the lessor on a natural resource lease, and or the residential lease. And so we want to make sure that it is very clear what relationship the buyer will have with all of that. Now, by adding all of this and clarifying all of this as well, the lender will also be made aware of all of it, since it will be added as part of the contract to have these addendums to clarify what the leases will be going forward.